Hey everybody, this is Alyssa with the Morgan County Public Library, and I have a book talk for you guys today. One moment. So, book talks, remember, I talk about some books in the hopes that you will come to the library and check them out. The books I have today, I've got 3 of them for you. They are from our Tween collection. So, quick reminder, Tween is suggested for kids ages 9 to 12 or in grades 4 through 6, but older kids might want these books, younger kids might want these books, adults might be interested in these books. They are for whoever would like to come check them out. And all of these books, they are about school. Yes, it's almost here. I know our friends in Mooresville and Monrovia are already back in school. Eminence and Martinsville, first day of school is coming next week, so good luck to everybody. But let's talk about these stories and see if maybe some of them are things that could or couldn't happen at your school. So the first one we have is called Posted by John David Anderson. John David Anderson lives in Indianapolis. He is an Indiana author, and I book talk his books quite a bit because I enjoy them. So in Posted, you see we've got these Post-it notes everywhere. So it is about a boy named Frost, and at Frost's middle school, the teachers and the Board of Education have just outlawed cell phones in school. You're not allowed to have one in school because someone sent a particularly nasty text message about a teacher, so nasty that they never tell us what it is in the book. So because of that, they have decided no cell phones at school. Believe it or not, back in the day, you couldn't have your cell phone out in class or even like on you in school. So I don't find this too much of a stretch personally, but I have a feeling some of you might think this is, end of the world level stuff, not having your cell phone with you at school. But anyway, so you've got Frost and his friends. They are in middle school. They are all in 8th grade. They are getting ready, the next year they'll be in high school. And Frost and his group of friends, so you have Dee Dee, Wolf, and Bench, and these are all their nicknames for each other. They've sort of been each other's friend group for a long time. They've always hung out together, games, worked on school projects together, those sorts of things. But there's been some changes in their group. Some of them started to branch out, show different interests, hang out with other people. But back to the cell phone thing. So once they don't have the cell phones anymore, Frost and his friends get the idea to put Post-it notes up to exchange messages. So instead of sending each other text messages, they're doing it through Post-it notes. Well, the other kids catch on and they start putting up Post-it notes too. Problem is, some of these Post-it notes aren't exactly the nicest or the most helpful of messages. So they've got a couple problems going on here. One, this Post-it note thing is about to blow up in their face and cause some huge problems at school. And 2, Frost and his friends, are they still going to be friends or have they all changed too much? So that's what Posted is about. Next one is called The School for Good and Evil by Soman Chainani. Over this way. This is one, it's part of a series. It's the first book in a series. And I was doing some research. It looks like this is going to be a movie on Netflix next year. So something else to keep in mind. Read it before the movie comes out. So this one, looking at it, we're getting a fairy tale vibe here, right? So in this story, in this town called Gavaldon, every year someone called the Storian comes and gets 2 kids from Gavaldon. Sometimes he takes a boy and a girl, sometimes he takes 2 boys, sometimes he takes 2 girls. And those students, or those 2 kids, become students. One is a student at the School for Good, and the other is a student at the School for Evil. And that's actually where people learn how to be fairy tale characters, essentially. So, School for Good, that's where Cinderella, Prince Charming, Robin Hood, all of those characters ended up from. And then the School for Evil, that's where you've got your wicked queens, evil stepmothers, things like that. So we have Sophie. Sophie lives in Gavaldon, and she just knows that she's perfect for the School for Good because she's blonde and beautiful, and she is so nice to everybody, and she makes sure that they take wonderful care of their skin and prepares the finest vegan food. And she also is friends with the only girl that no one will ever want to be friends with because she is just that good of a person. And then you have Agatha. Agatha dresses all in black, lives in the cemetery, has a creepy cat, and nobody likes her. Only friend she has is Sophie. And Sophie does get on her nerves, but again, Sophie's the only friend she has. And Sophie really wants to go to the school for good. She is determined that's what's going to happen. Agatha doesn't want her to go because if Sophie goes, Agatha has no one. So the historian comes, and lo and behold, he takes Sophie and Agatha, and he drops them off at the school for good and evil. One little problem. He takes Agatha to the school for good, and Sophie to the school for evil, which is obviously a mistake, right? Or is it? You'll have to read The School for Good and Evil to find out. And the last one we have is called Dress Coded by Carrie Firestone. This is a newer book that we have. Let me set this one up here. Oh, water break, excuse me. Book talks make me thirsty. So, in Dress Code, we're in middle school again. We've got a group of 8th graders. And Molly Frost is the name of the main character, which is interesting because our main character in Post-it is called Frost. Molly is fed up. So what has happened is her good friend Olivia got written up for a dress code violation. And Molly decides to do a podcast because when Olivia got written up for the dress code violation, it was toward the end of school. And the students have been told if, we have no more dress code violations, we get to go on a special trip at the end of the year. Then Olivia gets the dress code violation, and basically everybody in the 8th grade hates her. That's how Olivia feels. So Molly decides to do this podcast. So Olivia can kind of tell her side of the story and explain what led up to her violating the dress code. If you're curious, ultimately the reason is because she had on a tank top. So, sleeveless shirt. But there is a little bit more to it than that. So they do this podcast, and as Molly's talking with her friends, they realize there's a little bit of a problem with the dress code. Molly and another friend wore exactly the same outfit, same style shirt, same size shorts. They had gone shopping together. Her friend's a little curvier than she is, and her friend got written up for a dress code violation. Another friend, kind of the same situation. She was wearing something similar to someone else. She's a bigger girl. She got written up. The skinnier person didn't. So they start telling these stories about what's happened to them with the dress code. There's even one girl who, when she got pulled aside for a dress code violation, it took so long to write her up and essentially scold her. She missed a quiz and made an F because of a dress code violation. And as Molly and her friends start talking to each other more and they start doing some investigating, they're finding out there's a really big problem with this dress code. The people who are getting singled out for violations and how those violations are being handled. And that this isn't the first time that it's happened. So Molly and her friends are trying to figure out what it is they need to do to help bring about change so that nobody is getting in trouble or missing school time or failing tests just because of what they wear. So this is Dress Coded. And those are the 3 books we have today, our school books. So really quick, we have Posted, The School for Good and Evil, and Dress Coded. These are all available for checkout at the library. If you're looking for other school stories, please stop by and ask, and I hope I will see some of you soon. Have a good day, everybody.